seems fitting to compare the two teams now that they're both at the 72-win plateau. Both had great seasons, obviously, but which team's run was more impressive to you, the Warriors or the 96 Bulls?
Well, now you have a couple ways to look at it. I mean, I guess my instinct maybe would be to say the Bulls just because they had really been there. They had been going deep in the playoffs for so many years. Jordan, obviously, it was coming off his break. But whenever there's that much experience a team has going deep into the playoffs, I find it hard to imagine how they can kind of summon the energy and the motivation to win that many games in a regular season. But the other way to look at it is that the Warriors play in an era when rest is so prized, and everyone talks so much about pacing yourself and not treating the regular season too seriously. And so the fact that they were able to kind of shelve that mentality entirely and treat the regular season with the emphasis that they did from day one on makes what they did wildly impressive also. I mean, it's really hard to compare it. I do think the Warriors had a few more, I think they have a little bit more ammunition as far as scoring. But when you look at kind of the load Steph Curry wore for this many months, 6 months, Draymond Green also, I mean, they're both wildly impressive. It's a hard thing to compare.
Yeah, and this is going to be even harder question for you, but I'm going to ask it. In a 7-game series between the Warriors and the Bulls, what do you think would be the biggest difference maker that would ultimately decide the series?
Well, I do think the time in which the game is played and the rules, I think the Bulls were a team that was perfect for its time. I think the Warriors are a team that's perfect for its time. But I do think the Warriors would have, I mean, if you really want to compare the rosters, I mean, they would have more scoring punch. I mean, they would have so much shooting, so much ability to space the floor. I think the basketball you see now, I mean, the fact that it's, we're talking about 20 years in the future, there have been strides that have been made. I think the game has evolved, and the Warriors just have so much offense that the Bulls, when you look at the roster, when you look at the numbers, they have Michael Jordan, they had Scottie Pippen, they had a nice supporting cast, but the Warriors just kind of come at you in waves. It's so difficult, I think, to hold them down, and more than hold them down, just to match points with them. I don't know that the Bulls would be able to score with them. But again, I think in that era, when maybe it was more physical play, more defensive style of play, then if the game were played in 1996 and the referees were in 1996, then the Bulls may have the edge.